What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, so we are going to continue our coverage over Mark Waid's run on Daredevil. Matter of fact, we are about to begin the end of his run. Yes, you heard that right. After this video and the next one, we're most likely going to jump into Charles Soule's run on Daredevil. Now, when it comes to Mark Waid, I really do love the prelude to the end of his run, because this is where he wraps up everything he did with Daredevil, moving him over to San Francisco. But this also possibly is the end for Matt Murdock and Kirsten McDuffin, his latest girlfriend. And that is really huge, because when it comes to Kirsten and Matt, they really did a good job building up their relationship throughout the entire run of Mark Waid's run. Matter of fact, when it comes to Mark's run on the character, it seemed like to me his personal goal was to make sure Matt had a better life, a better chance in life. Because most writers, when they sit down and write for Daredevil, he is usually getting dragged through the mud. Like Homeboy is always going through something. But for Mark, it was more of, let's try to give him a better chance in life. And when it comes to Kirsten, for me personally, this right here was his most healthiest relationship through all the girlfriends he had over the years up to this point in Marvel Comics. But that's the problem though, because now you have Matt and Foggy wondering, is Matt going to break up with Kirsten? Now Foggy is telling Matt, don't do it. But for Matt, he's worried because over the years, every single time he gets a girlfriend, and they get to this point right here where they say, I love you to each other, something happens to that lady. You know, Elektra, Karen, his ex-wife, and the list goes on. And so for Matt, he's wondering, is something going to happen to Kirsten? If it does, I do not want to be responsible for that. But you have Foggy saying, dude, that's you overthinking. Dude, that's you being depressed. You need to relax and be happy for once. You never had the chance to be happy, and finally you have the chance and you're trying to throw it away. Don't do this, man. She loves you and you love her. But while you have the two characters talking to one another, they have no idea that they're currently being watched by the Owl. Now, when it comes to the Owl, we saw him in the early parts of Mark's run when he was trying to become the kingpin of crime of San Francisco. Now, he was stopped by the Shroud in Daredevil, but right after being stopped, he was also able to be fused with new technology to the point where now all cameras, computers, TV, cell phones, any kinds of electronics that collect some kind of data is now constantly being fed to him. Now here's the thing, because now he is able to watch Matt Murdock and Foggy from any kind of electronics nearby them and possibly other people in the city. We then jump over to Kirsten McDuffin, who's having lunch with her father. Now, here's the thing. Remember, her father offered Matt $8 million a couple stories ago to write a book about his life. Matt agreed for two reasons. One, his bills, and two, to help pay for Foggy's cancer treatment. Now, when it comes to Kirsten, she's currently upset with her father because without her permission, he decided to give her bodyguards. Now, he says, listen, the reason why I did that, because who Matt Murdock is. Because remember, the entire world knows that Matt Murdock is Daredevil by this point in Marvel Comics. And so when it comes to Kirsten's dad, he is saying, you are literally a target for all of his enemies. I want to make sure that you are protected. But she says, no, that's not the truth at all. You are afraid if something happens to me, there goes your book deal for Matt and you to make some huge money. And so you want to make sure I'm protected to protect your money. Now, before the two characters are able to continue on with their conversation, out of nowhere, the entire restaurant gets gassed. And that leads into Kirsten's father calling up Matt by saying, hey Matt, we have a situation. The entire restaurant got gas, but the only person to be taken was Kirsten. And so you have Matt rush over there to hopefully find out where his girlfriend has been taken to. Now, when he does arrive, he does talk to the bodyguards that Kirsten's father had hired. And they said, we have no idea which way he went to, because We did not see anybody run out the front door nor the back door. And you have Matt say, because he never left the building. He has a secret passageway underneath the restaurant. And as soon as Matt goes down there, he finds Kirsten, who is currently being held hostage by some random guy. Now, when it comes to Matt, he believes that this guy had taken Kirsten as a way to get to him, but he is completely wrong. Because while you have the two characters fighting, she said, he's not here for you, he's here for me. Now, you do have Matt chase after the guy, except the guy is not stopped by Matt. He's actually stopped by the Shroud. And like I said earlier, in the earlier parts of Mark's run, the Shroud and Matt worked together to bring down the Owl. But the Shroud is here again to help out Daredevil. But in the earlier parts of Mark Waid's run, Matt had promised the Shroud to help find the Shroud's ex-girlfriend, and that would be Julia Carpenter, the second Spider-Woman, who had apparently disappeared. And so this is Matt saying, hey buddy, thanks for the help, but what's going on? And the Shroud is saying, listen, I realize I'm in your debt. You have helped me out so much. I want to make sure I am able to help you out. But also want to know, do you have an update about where my girlfriend is at? And Matt says, no, I'm still looking, and hopefully I can find her. And then you have the Shroud leave. Now, this part right here is going to be important for the next two chapters. Now, once you have Matt Murdock being able to make it back over to Kirsten, she informs him about who that guy was who had kidnapped her. And apparently, he comes from her past life when she was a lawyer, because she was the lawyer that had sent him away to prison for life. Now, we already know that he was able to escape, but now he is on his way back over to prison. Now for Kirsten, this is great because this is the first time in her time with Matt Murdock that she was not targeted as a way to get to Matt Murdock. Instead, she was targeted because of her past life, and she feels like she's now getting her own rogue gallery. Either way, you do have the two characters head home. Now, on their way home, you have Matt tell her that he was not the one who had stopped the guy, it was the Shroud. And she says, okay, that's cool. Either way, we still have to help him. Now, on their way home, the Shroud was watching them, but we also come to find out the Shroud is possibly working with the Owl now. Now, as we dive into the second chapter, we see that Matt Murdock is actually late for a court session. Now, here's the thing. This is going to begin a new concept in Daredevil comics that unfortunately doesn't last that long. The idea of Matt Murdock and Daredevil coming together as one. And the reason why I'm saying that, because when Matt does arrive at the courthouse, he walks into the room and he's wearing a whole brand new suit that's all red, and his belt buckle has DD on it. And we're left to wonder what in the world is going on. And this leads all the way back into that book deal, because you have Kirsten's father asking Matt, hey man, listen, what's the point of wearing a mask? Now, Matt says, if you had asked me last year, it would be to hide my secret identity. But then he says, well, yeah, that's out the window now, because the entire world now knows that Matt Murdock is Daredevil. And so again, why are you still wearing the mask? What's the mask for? And Matt realized where her father is going with this. Again, because of the book deal. Because yes, you're writing a book about your life as Matt Murdock, but also as Daredevil. But here's the thing. Who am I selling? Daredevil or Matt Murdock? You're the same person. So there's no point for you to wear the mask anymore. There's no point for you to be out there wearing that costume at all. Why not go ahead and just be Matt Murdock the entire time? Still be a lawyer, but also be a hero. There's no armor in your actual suit. There's nothing in there protecting you. There's no special weapons in that belt buckle of yours that holds your pants up. There's nothing in there. And so there's no point of you to wear the suit. And Matt agrees. And so he decides to merge the two lives of Daredevil and Matt into one. And so when he's out there fighting crime, he's now wearing a red suit, a red, nice, lovely suit, again, that has DD on his belt buckle. But he wears the same suit in court sessions as well. He's trying to bring both lives together. Now, while you have Matt out there being this new kind of hero, he does get a call about the idea there's an owl-like character in a different part of San Francisco. And so Matt heads over to see what in the world is going on, because he believes it's most likely the owl, because he got word recently that the owl had escaped from prison or had just disappeared from prison. Except when he arrives at that location, all he finds is a bunch of thugs. Now he believes that these thugs are working for the owl, which means he had just missed the owl, and these guys may have information about where the owl could possibly be at. And so you have Matt be down on these characters until another character arrives, dressed like an owl-like character, and Matt realized that she is the reason why he got that call. Now, her name is Jubila Pride, and with her being here, just like Matt, she got word that the owl had disappeared from prison, and she's trying her best to find her father. The last time she heard anything about her father was when he was in prison. And the reason why she was here with Matt Murdock fighting against these guys, because these guys used to work for the owl. She was hoping that they may have information on where he could possibly be at. They don't have anything. Now for Matt, he also wants to know, where in the world did the owl go to? And so you have the two characters work together. Now for Matt, it's really more of, I want to find the owl, but I can't trust you either, because you are the daughter of one of my villains, and I got to make sure that you are not up to something. Now when it comes to Matt, he does find some clues, and those clues, they do take them to different locations across San Francisco until they go over to Alcatraz prison, the prison that the owl was sent to, the last place he was seen at. Now when Matt and Jubila arrive at the prison, Matt realized that there's a part of the prison that's using a lot of energy. That's not normal. And so you have our two characters head over to that part of the prison. When they do, they find the owl, but he has been hooked up to a bunch of wires. Now when it comes to Matt and Jubila, they're wondering who in the world did this. Then the Shroud appears and he says, listen, whoever did this has him looking for someone in California. And when it comes to Matt, he's wondering who, and also who is the owl looking for that person. Now when it comes to Jubila, she realized that something is up here. She looks over at the Shroud and realized the Shroud was the guy who had hooked up the owl to all these wires. Because let's not forget, the Shroud has been looking for his ex-girlfriend, Julia Carpenter, wondering where in the world is she. And he was trying to use the owl and his new ability to hopefully find his girlfriend in California. And when Matt realized what the Shroud is doing, the Shroud realized that Matt knows and tries to take him out. And so as we dive into the third chapter, this really shows that when it comes to the Shroud, this is a man who has gone too far. Meaning that this is a man who's gone too far trying to find a woman who has supposedly disappeared. How do we not know that the reason why she had disappeared is because she is trying to hide from him? Maybe she saw the red flags in him. But again, we don't know that. But for Matt, he knows they have to retreat. They need a better game plan on how they're going to save the owl, but also how they're going to save, or really stop the Shroud, not save them. But either way, you do have Matt and Jubila leave to go back somewhere else to think of a new game plan. Now, on their way back to possibly Matt Murdock's office, you have Matt begin to learn about the origin of Jubila. And we kind of find out that her and her father, they had a very close bond with one another. Now, when it came to that bond, he realized that she wanted to be just like him, a character that had owl-like abilities. And so he went out of his way to hire a bunch of scientists that knew a lot about Stark technology to achieve the goal to making her just like him. Now, once that goal was achieved, you then had her basically be this owl-like character in the world of Marvel Comics. Now, while you have Matt Murdock learning more about her origin, he then realized that they're being watched by the Shroud. The Shroud is controlling the Owl and using the Owl's new ability to watch people through any kind of screens of technology. Cell phones, TVs, computers, and the list goes on. And so Matt realized that this could become a huge problem, and it does. Now, when it comes to the Shroud, he's not just only able to watch people on the computer screens, he's able to speak through those screens to people across San Francisco. Now, they're not really able to talk back to him, but who cares? Because now he is able to share any kind of information about Matt Murdock across California, what he had gathered by watching Matt over a short period of time. For example, the idea that Foggy Nelson is alive. Because let's not forget, Foggy has cancer. And matter of fact, when it came to Foggy, he got cancer back in New York. But when Matt told the world that he was Daredevil, he was scared about the idea that his villains might go after Foggy as a way to get to him. And so you have Matt, Foggy, and Kirsten fake his death as a way to move Foggy over to San Francisco, but to be able to continue to get cancer treatments without worrying about the idea of his bad guys coming after him to get to Matt. But now you have the Shroud telling everyone in the city, did y'all know that Matt faked his best friend's death? Did you know that he's alive? Did you know that he's in San Francisco right now? And now the entire home of Matt is being surrounded by all these reporters wanting info about Foggy. Now the Shroud, he's not only messing with Foggy, he's also messing with Kirsten as well. Begin to show different videos of her and Matt making love to one another. And that's really huge, but also showing off her therapy sessions to everybody in North California, or possibly all of California. And he doesn't stop there. You see, when it came to Matt, when he arrived in San Francisco, he opened up a brand new law firm with Kirsten, and they did take in a lot of different clients. Now, Matt, he did not record anything at all, but the Shroud, he did. He has been doing this for a while, just in case he needed something to use against Matt. And he tells everyone in North California that basically Matt Murdock has supposedly kept recordings of him and his clients talking about different things about their cases. Even though it wasn't Matt, it looks like it was Matt. But in reality, it was a Shroud. And so there goes Matt's career as a lawyer once again. Now you have Matt head over to the deputy mayor's office to ask her to turn off the power to the prison to stop the Shroud. Except when they arrived, she realized that Matt Murdock is with the daughter of the Owl. But the way she is dressed, she looks very similar to the same ones who had kidnapped her daughter at the very beginning of Mark Waid's run on Daredevil when he had moved Matt over to San Francisco. And so now she believes that Matt this entire time was playing her. This entire time he was working with the Owl's daughter Jubila as a way to make himself famous in San Francisco. And so because of that, she tells police, hey, Matt Murdock is now on our wanted list. He needs to be brought in. Jubila, same thing. Bring her in as well too. And so now they have no choice but to leave her office. They realize the entire city has now turned against them. And so Matt realized that he has no choice but to really try to think of a new game plan on how to put everything back to normal. How to put the genie back in the bottle. Because now the entire city is coming after him. Now the entire city is going after Kirsten. Now you have reporters going after Foggy. What can he do to put everything back? And when it comes to Jubila, she says there's only one person who has the power to put everything back in the bottle to give you the chance to stop the Shroud, but to also save my father. And Matt knows who she is talking about. It is literally his worst enemy, and that would be the Kingpin. Daredevil has to make a deal with the Kingpin. And this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.